So as Dennis mentioned, I'm currently a partner in PwC, and I've been with the firm for 15 years, and I've been a partner for 6 years. When I joined the firm, I joined sort of mid career, so kind of like assistant manager grade at the time, and that's because I had worked in other places. And so there was a bit of a steep learning curve because that's the point at which I chose to specialize in tax. And my boss at the time saw my potential and was ready to nurture me and help me. But he also happened to be my coach because at PwC, we do have a formalized coaching system. So anytime anybody joins the firm, you are assigned a career coach, and eventually you will have to be a career coach. Sorry, I live near the airport, so that's a helicopter passing by. So the concept of coaching is really important. And essentially, if you think about coaching, it's kind of like based on the apprenticeship model. So when you're going to do something, there's a senior person who knows how to do it, better than you because you're more experienced, and they teach you very practically how to achieve the goals you're trying to achieve. So in my case, when I joined the firm, I was new to tax consulting. I had to learn not just the technical part of it, but also how to write like a consultant, how to communicate my ideas, how to quote the laws as they apply to the cases we were dealing with. And so my coach taught me how to write like a consultant. I used to write, very, very straight to the point and very brief, and obviously didn't incorporate all the things I needed to when supposedly putting together tax advice or whatever documents I had to put together. So my coach taught me how to write like a consultant, and he did that by actually letting me write, correcting what I had written with detailed comments and markups, showing me how he did it and getting me to do it again. And it was by that practice that I learned how to write like a consultant. He didn't stand by and say, do it this way and not sort of get involved. So your coach sort of holds your hand to show you how to do things by doing it themselves. One of the things that we also do in the firm is that we engage with our clients a lot. We go to meetings, we go to conference calls, and sometimes you need to be taught how to engage with clients. It doesn't come automatically. So my coach took me to meetings, which is what we do in PwC. You teach other people by getting them involved. Took me to meetings and showed me how to interact with clients and build client relationships. One thing I just like to stress here is that, in an African country, if you think about people coming from different backgrounds, not everybody is as exposed or has had the resources to interact with a lot of people from different countries or has traveled extensively by the time they're coming to work in the firm. So if I think of a very, very typical and key example, if you're on a conference call with people from different countries and you're not used to those accents, you probably will not be able to understand what they're saying. And so that is why on some of these calls, we definitely have very junior people, brand new people, very fresh from university, who are on the call and observe the way you interact with the clients and learn how to take notes as well. And this is all achieved by coaching, right? So showing people what to do, demonstrating it yourself, and giving them the chance to, do it themselves, make the mistake, and then correct them. So that's what my coach did for me. And that's an example of what your coach can do for you, depending on what you're trying to achieve in your career. Now, my mentor actually, well, one of my mentors, I have quite a few. I have about 3 or 4 mentors currently. But one of my mentors at the time, probably about 7 years ago, happened to be a client. So it's very interesting because at some points in my career, I did specialize in the area of oil and gas clients. And that's an area which is very dependent on relationships because it's a very technical area from even on its own, how much more from a tax perspective. And clients, when you win clients over by building trust and demonstrating your capability. So I built a very good friendship with one of my clients, and she sort of became my mentor. And she would, show me the ropes, tell me things about the industry, talk to me about people I should meet. She introduced me to her network. She advised me, she counseled me, she told me when she thought, I needed to do more from her perspective as an outsider in my organization. She introduced me to other clients so I could win more work. And there were times when I considered, if I'm being honest, I considered whether I should leave the firm or not. And she said to me, no, if you're going to leave, don't even think of coming into my industry because it's very insecure, it's dependent on commodity prices. So she was very honest with me, and I really appreciated what she did for me as a mentor. I had another mentor who was within the firm, who is about 10 years older than me, and she's what I call my voice of experience. And even though she was not within my line of service, she's not a tax person, she's in a different part of the business, she taught me how to really manage people, manage politics, how to handle certain people, because she had that experience. So she could spot from very far away when things were going a particular way, who I needed to talk to, and she was there to advise me. So your mentors sort of give you the big picture things. They can sort of point you in the right direction. They can tell you what to do. I'll move on to the sponsor. So once again, PwC is a huge organization with many layers and many areas of special leadership roles that you can play. So my sponsor, apart from being in those rooms where he would speak about me to build my network within the firm, with the knowledge and the ultimate objective of me making partner some years in the future, he would promote me in his network. He was a very well-connected partner. He served on several leadership teams. He would mention me to some of his colleagues, and when any opportunities came up, he would put my name forward for me to be part of them. And that's essentially what your sponsor does. They have access to people typically that you don't have access to within your organization or wherever it is that you are trying to get to. So they mention you, they sort of put you up for opportunities, they introduce you to people, they talk about you, they're very strategic about it. And that relationship again has to be nurtured well. So in my case, my sponsor happened to be also my mentor and also my coach, so 3-in-1 for me. And so he was very familiar with my work, because that's the thing. Your sponsor is taking a chance by speaking for you or talking you up in those rooms that they're in. And so they must trust you. They're not going to sacrifice their credibility for you. They don't know you or cannot speak for your work. So my sponsor was very familiar with my work, very familiar with my capabilities, because I had proven it to him by doing things for him and working on projects he had assigned to me. So he could confidently speak about me, talk me up, introduce me to people, or say, I think Ayesha should be part of this program, because he had first-hand experience. So I think it's very key that you select the right person to be your sponsor, once again, with what you're trying to achieve in mind. The ultimate goal should be what you have in mind. And I would say, again, this is what I think, practically speaking. You can have multiple mentors. You can even have multiple coaches, depending on what kind of job you do or where you're trying to go, or for different parts of your life. But when it comes to a sponsor, particularly when it comes to your organization and your growth and your promotion, I think it's best to have one person, because it's a political arrangement and a very political relationship, in the sense that you and your sponsor may have direct communication and you may have a great relationship. But remember, he or she is speaking for you to very powerful people. And that has been managed extremely well and very sensitively. You don't want to have more than one sponsor, then they are sort of vying against each other, or one person thinks that, well, if I'm your sponsor, why is she your sponsor too? So you need to manage it very well. If you trust somebody to be your sponsor and to speak for you, to spend their currency, if I can put it that way, in very high level meetings and rooms and discussions, then you probably need to choose carefully and choose one person at a time, depending on how far you want to go. Clearly, if you are able to ascend to very high levels in organization, you may not need that person anymore as a sponsor, but you can maintain the relationship. And you may need somebody else, or you may need a different kind of coach or mentor. But I think, particularly around sponsorship, it should be handled very delicately, because it is delicate.